On today's edition of NewsTeam Boulder for Friday, April 28th, we'll discuss CU's upcoming graduation
and a look into the club fencing team at CU. All that and more today on NewsTeam Boulder. Welcome to this season's last episode of NewsTeam Boulder. I'm Angus Skinner.
And I'm Jada Rodriguez. Graduating is a big deal, but members of the class of 2023 are equally as disappointed as they are excited. As the semester comes to a close, there are a lot of mixed emotions in the air. I have more on this story next. Under any circumstances, being a graduating college senior can be unsettling, to say the least. But there's one group of students who have been particularly affected by the uncertainty of tomorrow.
And when COVID happened, it definitely felt like a big loss because I felt like I was just stepping my toe into the water of building community, and so quickly it was taken away.
The class of 2023 has faced some major unprecedented circumstances.
I feel like I missed out on a lot, but I feel like I grew a lot during that time.
At a time when the world seemed to have come to a standstill, this graduating class persevered. They showed up, logged on, and made the best of a challenging situation. They attended online and Zoom classes while trying to juggle the stresses of work obligations and family responsibilities.
I think that 2 years of being on lockdown and being in quarantine and also like having the expectation of doing my classes and still like excelling academically was definitely really challenging.
For many, the pandemic disrupted plans for internships, travel, and other extracurricular activities. But instead of giving up, these seniors pushed through, learning more about themselves in isolation than they imagined.
Definitely like having that moment of isolation where I didn't have as much distractions and I wasn't around a lot of people. It forced me to really be able to kind of face my shadow in a way.
This class has shown tremendous strength and patience.
Life happens, move on. So you prepared me, I'm ready.
Now that things have almost returned to normal, they've done lots to make up for lost time.
I feel like I've really made up for missing out on being around community in person by being around community in person like times 10. Being the president of Black Student Alliance, like being in that space where it's not only like my responsibility, but it's my passion and my purpose to connect Black people together. I think I've really made up for it in that way, and I've really enjoyed it.
Now, with graduation right around the corner, the class of 2023 might have mixed emotions, but Simmons says,
I wouldn't take it back.
And encourages her peers too.
Advice would be know who you are on the inside, know what your spirit craves, and understand where that aligns with where you are now, where you want to be, where you have been, and walk into that fully. Because life is short, we're young, but it's short, so milk it as much as you can.
For NewsTeam Boulder, I'm Jada Rodriguez.
Speaking of graduation applications are due tonight at midnight, so make sure to get those in as soon as possible. Mark your calendars because there are some senior celebration events starting next week.
At the bookstore, you can decorate your caps Monday through Thursday next week. Next Thursday afternoon from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., there's a senior bash at the Koenig Alumni Center. Finally, on May 11th, there's breakfast before the commencement ceremony.
All of these events lead to the main commencement ceremony, which will take place on Folsom Field on Thursday, May 11th. Tickets and registration for this event are not required. Are you looking for ways to de-stress before finals? Well, we've got a quick list of upcoming events for you to check out.
First up on Sunday evening at 5 p.m., there's a Table Mesa planting event for students to plant carrots, lettuce, onions, and flowers.
Next Tuesday afternoon, the Rec will have therapy dogs hosted by Dennis Small Cultural Center.
And finally, next Tuesday night at 5 p.m., there's a DIY terrarium building at the UMC.
After the break, we have some updates on the rock throwing incidents going on around the Denver area.
And Derek Hernandez visits land affected by the Marshall Fire that's being rezoned into an open space. Stay tuned.
An update on the rock attack story that we covered on our Wednesday newscast. Jefferson County Sheriff's Office arrested 3 suspects late Tuesday night in relation to the rock attacks that killed 20-year-old Alexa Bartell and damaged 6 vehicles. The suspects, Joseph Koenig, Nicholas Mitch Carroll Chick, and Zachary Quack, all high school seniors, face charges of first-degree murder. Further investigations are ongoing.
The Marshall Fire had detrimental effects on communities around Boulder County. Now, 2.5 years later, parts of Superior are healing and rebuilding. We go to NewsTeam's Derek Hernandez for more.
This area is one of the areas devastated by the Marshall Fire. But after a Board of Trustees meeting here in Superior on Monday night, the healing process seems like it's ready to begin. Town manager Matt Magley announced during this meeting that nearly 1 acre of land located south of Charles Street and west of South 3rd Avenue will be protected by the city as an open space. Already an abundance of life has begun to spring up and scurry around, and this rezoning is partly ensure that this natural habitat continues to grow and thrive. But in most part, it is to give back to the community.
I come out here because it's quiet, it's nice, and it's kind of its own little community because of that, because everyone who comes out here and walks and bikes and runs all kind of feels that same way.
Mayor Mark Lassis reminisced on a fairy garden that once stood here that sadly was taken by the fire. If the community agrees, he'd love to see its return, along with changes that the community wishes to see. If you wish to join in on the discussion of the rezoning, on May 8th there will be another public meeting held to discuss more things about the rezoning.
The weather is getting warmer and activities are springing up around Boulder. Disc golf, a popular sport that has similar rules to golf, is attracting the attention of local businesses. NewsTeam Boulder's Joe Gerald tells us more.
In the early 1870s, frisbees first became popular when students started using pie plates made of tin to throw back and forth. Looking forward a few decades, disc golf is born with its first tournament being held in Canada in the 1920s. Since then, the growth was slow and had a relatively small community of players. However, when COVID shut everything down, disc golf courses were one place that people began to look towards, and the industry experienced a rapid growth. Now, it is known as one of the fastest growing sports in the world, and the attendance at some events enter into the thousands. With the growth of disc golf over the last few years, some locals have decided to open their own business within the industry. Harvula, a Denver-based company that sells discs with local artist Aaron Brooks' artwork on it, is doing just that. And so far, it's been an ace. Doug Harvey and Bo Frula, the owners of Harvula, are passionate disc golf fans and have used the sport as a way to unwind from the stresses of work for years. Now, with the new growth, they see an opportunity to capitalize on their passion.
The rise through the pandemic of all these new people coming out to play when a lot of things were closed down, disc golf wasn't. And so it's been growing a lot, and we just felt like the time was good to start a business and try to make the most out of something that we love.
While Harvula hopes discs are the first step in achieving their eventual goal of opening their own course, for Doug and Bo, it's still mainly about getting together with friends and enjoying the outdoors.
I'd say the main purpose to come out here just to get out in nature with your friends, have a good time. Usually we have a drink, have a good conversation.
There may be a long course ahead for Harvula, but their passion for this industry will help make this venture a much easier shot. For NewsTeam Boulder, I'm Joe Gerald.
After the break, Alyssa Palazzo takes us through the weather for the weekend.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Happy Friday, I'm Alyssa Palazzo, and this is NewsTeam Boulder's weather. Looking at Colorado weather, we might see some temperatures a little cooler than we might hope for in springtime with these blues and purples, 20s in the Rockies. 57 is pretty nice for Boulder, but maybe not the weather we're hoping for. However, this weekend, we're going to see some oranges and some yellows as it starts to warm up and we get higher temperatures. If we zoom out a little looking at the national weather forecast, you can see there's a lot of precipitation happening here in the Midwest, down here in the east, up into the north. It's going to be chilly and rainy. We have some high pressure systems over here in Wyoming. As coming down into Colorado, we're going to get some more of that picnic weather. There are some low pressure systems, which means a little bit more rain, not as nice weather, with some cold fronts that are meeting these warm fronts, which is why we're getting so much precipitation. As we look forward ahead, we're going to be seeing a lot more consistent weather than we might have seen in the past for Colorado. Here we're seeing temperatures in the 70s and low 40s. We're going to see on Saturday there's going to be sun but clouds in the evening. Sunday, another sunny nice day. However, thunderstorms in the evening. Pack those rain jackets and those umbrellas for Monday and Tuesday because those thunderstorms are going to be continuing. Another thing that we have to look forward to is a lot more sunshine. Looking ahead, we have tomorrow is going to be 7:53 p.m. sunset. And the first 8 p.m. sunset of the season, of the year, actually, is going to be May 7th, starting off finals weekend right. So looking ahead, we also are going to have some nice air quality. So if you want to get outside, maybe go for a walk in that rain with your galoshes on, it's going to be pretty nice weather. So that's all for weather this week, but after the break, NewsTeam's Leah Mayer pokes around in one of CU's more unique club sports. We'll be right back.
You've seen it in pirate movies and Shakespearean plays. It's also an Olympic sport, and it's being taught here at CU. NewsTeam's Leah Mayer takes us into the world of fencing.
Do you want to sharpen any skills? Well, here at the University of Colorado Boulder, there is a fencing club any students can join. Michaela Jassim, a junior at CU and the president of the fencing club, says,
"It's safe, it's fun, it's where you make your friends."
Jassim started fencing when she was 7 years old while living in Singapore. She continued fencing even when moving to Korea and the United States.
And I competed at the national championships twice. I went to the Junior Olympics once in Denver, which was really cool.
Luckily, she was able to continue her love for fencing every time she moved.
It's an individual sport. You're on a team, but it's really individual. And so it was that one sport that I was able to keep doing.
As the president, she says,
trying to organize the club, I had goals I wanted to do, which one of them was holding a sanctioned tournament, which means you can get a rating, and that draws more fencers, so we could bring more people into the CU fencing community.
Have you ever tried fencing? Well, better believe it, I haven't either. Here at the CU Fencing Club, some people started their freshman year of college. They will take anyone with experience or no experience. Come try it out.
Jassim says
80% of the kids in our club had never fenced since before they came to college. And then we have people who stay the entire 4 years and they're competing and they're able to kind of get through competitions at the same caliber as everybody else who's been fencing for a few years.
Anush Ralapanava, also a junior here at CU, is now the vice president of the fencing team, but
I actually am one of those people that got into fencing in college.
When looking around for clubs to join, she went to look at fencing because her friends wanted to, but didn't expect for her to also like it.
It's a really complicated sport. And it does take some time to get used to. There's a lot of phrases that you kind of have to learn how they mean, and there's a lot of traditions and sort of things like that go in with the sport because it's also a very, very old and very prestigious sport.
Although singing was usually her favorite activity and not sports,
fencing I think has a good mix of being a sport and being kind of cool and being kind of fun. And honestly, what drew me into the fencing club right from the very start was the environment and the people.
In a normal practice, they start with running a few laps, conditioning, maybe a game, footwork, weapon practice, and then fencing.
Footwork, which is basically one of the basic components of fencing, is how you move your feet, how you sit, how you lunge, and it's probably the most important part of fencing.
Not only do people have to learn different components, but
there's 3 different weapons in fencing: foil, saber, and epee. We fence all 3.
At CU, both Jassim and Ralapanava are making sure they're fostering the sense of community within the club, especially as president and vice president.
Try fencing, it's really fun.
I'm Leah Mayer with NewsTeam Boulder.
From all of us here at NewsTeam Boulder, thank you for tuning in with us this season.
NewsTeam is back next year, but we will always be present on social media, so look out for us this summer at NewsTeam Boulder on Instagram.
For NewsTeam Boulder, I'm Jada Rodriguez.
And I'm Angus Skinner.